DJ Dan there with Soulful House Nation, and I am here live and direct with MoMo.
MoMo from MoMo TV.
Wow.
Get up, get out, get in. Let's go, y'all.
Well, you know, before I get set up, you know, when you're dealing with somebody high level like MoMo, I just want to let you know we do have the M&Ms in the back, and we pulled the green ones out for you, okay?
Thank you, I appreciate that. You heard about that. You got the memo. All right.
Well, we got a lot to cover. Got a lot of stuff to cover in a little bit of time, and I'm very, very excited with that MoMo and I are going to be doing this thing together, because I think that there's some things that are going on in the community aside from the music that we're going to have some discussions about. So let's just take a minute and just to tell people a little bit about us. And MoMo, you want to go first?
Okay. Since you put me on the spot, I'm Momo of MoMo TV. You know, if you watch me and you view me, you ride along with me every day, every morning to get your morning energy. Now, people, I play music, you know, I'm all hyped up, very energetic, tell a few jokes. It's just to get your day started on a good foot. That's the entire platform about that. We play music, we tell a few jokes, we do some feedback back and forth. It's just to have fun and be very energetic so you can start your day on the right foot. I always say, put a little bit of something back into the universe, don't just take stuff out. So that's really the motto that I live by. And I have a lot of fun doing it. Now, that's MoMo TV.
All right, and I'm DJ Dan with Soulful House Nation. And Soulful House Nation has really one point, the whole driving force is that we're going to take Soulful House music to the public. Very, very simple. The interviews, the conversations, the music, etc., is one purpose. We're going to take it to the public. And we believe that once the public hears the music, they see the fun we're having with it, they're going to be on board with it. So that's it in a nutshell. So every Monday from 1 to 3, we go on. But now, we also do things like this, which are our special editions. So here's a special edition, because this is a hot topic, I should say 2 hot topics that we need to discuss in the community. In addition to that, I just also want you to know that we do a thing called Soulful House Nation, our community, and then we have different topics that are in the community. We have a couple of things that you should be aware of. We have a credit repair coming up. Not that you guys need it, but you may know. But you may know somebody who needs credit repair, so we have a show coming up with that. We have a massage therapist coming up, and she's going to talk about things that you should know in terms of your body, that kind of thing. We're also going to have a show coming up where we're going to discuss what to do if you find yourself in a situation with an active shooter. Now, that especially has meaning for me for 2 reasons. Number one, because you know that has been happening. And unfortunately, one time is too many, but it's happened a lot. The second thing is that my youngest daughter, who never was in any danger, has been in a location where there was an active shooter. And also, too, in her school, they had a big alert that there was a potential active shooter. So those are things that are going on in the community. We're about the music, but we have other things going on in our lives, so we like to do that too. But let's do this now. Today,
right here, right now, today. First, I want to say, I think it's appropriate, Dan, if you don't mind to say, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for joining us today to be a part of today's discussion. It's really important to me. You know, I want to get the feedback. I want to learn something every day. I want to do more today. I want to know more today than I did yesterday. So as much as I love house music and I love to go around and, you know, just be energetic and promote different events, I want to learn as much about this whole community as I possibly can. So I think today's platform is about us sharing information and getting information back as to what people really feel and what they think. So that's what we're here to do today.
Okay, so let's do this. We're going to go one at a time. We'll kind of go back and forth with it here.
Okay.
But let's do this. Let's start off nice and easy, too. How about this one? What's your perspective? And I always like to ask this question, ladies and gentlemen. What's your perspective on Soulful House music? Where's it going?
That's kind of like a tough question, only because I'm not a DJ per se. No, not at all, actually. I'm not a DJ at all. But as a spectator, I can give you a spectator's perspective. I like to come to the house events, go to clubs and party, and I'm just enjoying myself. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes or what's, what it took to put that event on. However, where I think it's going is it's going upward. New Jersey for 2019 summer was bananas. No other word for it. I feel fortunate to live in New Jersey. I think we are definitely on the map. If we weren't before, we could have always been on the map, but for 2019, we took it to the next level. So I think it's only going to get bigger and better from here. So we're on the upward flow, in my opinion.
I agree. I see it growing. I see it going to the mainstream. One of the big challenges is that, and we've been having discussions about it, some people think there's too much. Some people think there's not enough. Some people think it's okay. So what we want to have a discussion about two things, two topics. Topic number one is that, are there too many house music events? And then the second question is, should we go to a paid model where people have to pay? So let's just get the conversation started. And what we want to do is we want to, I guess we can start off by putting that question out there. What do you think, Momo? Then I'm happy to respond, and you can ask questions too.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What do you think?
Do I think there are too many house events? Heck to the no. There are never too many house events. I literally planned my vacation this summer around the house events. So I live for this. This is what I live for. This music it does something to me. So as far as there being too many, no way, Jose. As far as there being too many on the same day, well, that's a bit of a different story. I can't split myself into 3-4 people, right? I'm one person, I got one car, I got one budget. When it comes to the gas to go into all these places, you're trying to go ahead and support the vendors, you want to buy a shirt, buy a necklace, buy some flip-flops, buy a fan. I want to support as many people as I can. However, I can't be in Union, Roselle, Plainfield. I can't be in all these places at the same time. So what I personally would like, Dan, is, is it any way? Maybe it's not possible. I don't know. The summer has only so many weekends in it. Okay. Is it possible they can somehow get together and talk and say, listen, I got this weekend, you got this weekend. It's a lot to try to get around to 2 and 3 events in one day. It's a lot. And I want to support everybody. You don't want to go, well, I'm going to go to his, but I'm not going to go to hers. It's a lot to try and make all these things in one day. So what I ended up doing is, thank God for Uber and Lyft. I was hitting one event, parking my car, Uber and Lyft, and over to the next event. But it's tiring. It's exhausting doing all of that, Dan. So what I'm thinking is, I'm actually next year, we have all these events on the same day. I'm going to just take turns. A lot of times you see the same DJ at multiple events. So I'm going to split it up and go, well, I saw him last week, I'm going to go this week and see this one. I got to do something to try and make all of these events. So we're looking for solutions. Hit us up, let us know, give us some feedback. But that's Momo's perspective.
Now, I look at it, are there too many events? I don't know the answer to that question, but here's what I'm going to say. And I've said this before. I hear people say that all these events aren't necessary. But how do we make the decision on whose event is necessary and who's not? So I can tell you right now, if I put on an event, that event is necessary.
Because you're putting it on.
I'm putting it on, right. Now, I also, too, want to say something like this along these lines. Okay, now, so Magic arguably has the biggest event of the year in terms of the attendance, turnout, et cetera, et cetera. But
which event is that?
That's the Bang Out.
Okay.
The Bang Out that he does in Warren Ankle Park in Roselle.
Okay.
But now here's the thing. Now Magic wasn't always the biggest promoter. Think about that for a minute. He started maybe 13, 14 years ago, whatever that was.
Okay, wow.
Now, I'm going to suggest to you that he did not have the level of attendance he has now. So, who was to say to Magic 13, 14 years ago, you know, your event shouldn't happen. You know, you're not, you don't matter like that. That's a hard thing. So I don't know the answer. Now going back to, there's a limited amount of weekends. That, you know, again, let's say you've got 5 weekends. 15 weekends just for kicks.
Okay.
And you got 40 people who want to put on an event. Now, do I say, well, I'm not going to put on my event because you're putting on yours? Or sometimes I can't get the date I want, and now it's got to fall on that date. I mean, how do you, I don't know how you're going to
navigate.
Yeah, I don't know how you navigate it. The only thing I could say from a standpoint of somebody who likes to attend these events is, you know, maybe we have more options now. Like, so we like I like, for example, this artist. Let's say Reggie Steele, for example,
right.
Or Aaron K. Gray, or Lady Alma, or anybody else you can think of right now. Those are the ones that popped into my head. And I'm sorry if your name didn't pop into my head.
Okay.
But do I only want to hear them? I want to hear Keisha Link. I want to hear Dawn So Lovely. I want to hear Crystal Lavelle. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
I want to hear. So.
That could be, you bring up a good point, Dan. That could be what actually determines who shows up to what events. I didn't think about that. On top of the DJs, it's the artists that you actually have there. I'm going to be honest, it makes a difference when I see Lady Alma on the roster. MoMo won't be there. So that plays a big role as well, I guess, as far as how people decide who's going to be there. It's also, I wouldn't tell anybody not to put on an event because it's not necessary. That's an opinion.
Right.
And everybody has one. No risk, no reward.
Right.
Okay? So you put your best foot forward and see what happens. From every experience, we learn something, right? So until you do it, how do you know what actually happens and takes place? I guess it's a thing where people have to get to, I guess you need to learn and reach out to the people that have done it successfully. Magic, like you say. Perhaps he could be a resource to others that are trying to do something on the non-bang out weekend, right? If he's that successful, he's got a template that has gotten him there. Maybe they can leverage that. So I just have to say, this year's my favorite color. My favorite color is orange, if you guys didn't know. So, you know, that's something else to think about. So do we have any feedback coming in that could, you know, help us through this?
Folks, we'd like to get some feedback. I'm starting to see comments coming up here, and I'd like to get your thoughts here. We want to have some discussion. Okay, after we, you know, speak to everybody in the room, please share. Now, again, forgive me if I did not mention your name, but the thing is, let's look at another perspective. So 2 weeks ago, or no, last week, there was an event in Jersey City, there was an event in Newark. Now, some people made a decision to go to Newark, some people made a decision to go to Jersey City. But let me give you another perspective. Let's say I live in Jersey City and I don't have transportation.
Oh, good point.
Okay, well, let's say I live in Newark. I don't have transportation. Then what do? Do I not do anything or whatever? Now, again, I'm in the same boat you have. I just really have not figured out how to be in 2 places in one. It's tricky.
It's tricky. And since you bring that up, let's talk about this. When they do put on these events, when they decide to put who's coming on at what time. Right. Which also helps the dancers, the spectators, the people coming in decide which one they're going to go to. In my opinion, that allows me to attend both events. Because between 4 and 6, I can get over here and see these two. Between, 1 and 4, I can be over here and see these two. But I've gotten feedback that you don't put the time up there because people won't show up between this time and this time because it's not a headliner, if you will. So I guess that's a slippery slope as well. I'm learning. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what's going on myself. However, that does help me when you put the times out. I don't know if, hopefully I'm not borrowing anything or telling any secrets here, but that makes a big difference as well.
Okay. So my niece Joyce said, yes, there should be a meeting in the beginning of the summer to discuss the event lineup, and then so there aren't too many in a day. I don't know, what do you think? I think, you know, the challenge with all of this is that there's pluses and minuses of everything in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality of getting 40 promoters together, it's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah.
And then to get 40 promoters to agree, and then who's going to say, well, I'll opt out this year, and you guys handle it, I'll pick it back up next year. Or, wait a minute, I have an annual thing that I do, are you saying I shouldn't do it this year?
Yeesh. Yeesh. That sounds like Pandora's box right there. Again, we're just trying to bring the information and put things on the table that people are thinking and feeling. This is feedback for the promoters, you know, help us help you. Like, we don't have all the answers, but let's talk about the paid model.
Okay, all right. But I got some comments here.
Good, yes, go through the
Okay,
comments.
so Sadana Mean says, form a committee where the event planners sit down with the calendar and figure out the dates. Again, that's kind of along the same lines here. Let me put something else out here. Now, okay, I'm going to create a scenario, and let's see how we handle. So let's pretend it's the beginning of the summer, and we sat down, or let's say it's this time this year.
Beginning of the summer is a beautiful time. That's why I'm smiling. Let's pretend it's the beginning of the summer.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Let's pretend, okay, the summer season over. That's what I really should have said. Okay. Let's pretend the summer season is over. Now it is, it's October, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And now, theoretically, this meeting would happen. Okay, let's say I'm a new guy. Well, that's no reference to man or woman. Now, should we be looking at different locations, different territories? Now, again, there's always a challenge here. Let's say, for example, you have Stacy, who's opening up the Eastern Pennsylvania market.
Oh, Stacy Jackson.
Yes. You have Kelly Kell, who's opening Columbia. Now, when I say the name, but it's their team also.
Understood.
So Columbia. You got Kelly Kell, who's opening up that. You got Musa Stretch, who's out in Columbus, Georgia, who's opening up a steam. So I'm saying now, at this point, those people are not necessarily experiencing the direct conflict. Now, maybe Stacy, only because some people may opt to go to Pennsylvania as opposed to do something here. So let's toss that a little bit about opening up new territories, new places, and I don't know, what do you guys think on that?
You just talked about what if you don't have a car?
Right.
You can't even get to Jersey City. Now you're trying to go to Atlanta.
Well,
but let's say you know you meet up with some people in your carpooling or whatever. Again, this is just my perspective. MoMo TV. I can get around. I can maneuver. Thank God. I'm able to move around. And it's actually on my calendar to go down to Columbia, South Carolina in November.
Okay.
Because again, I'm trying to learn and I want to see what's going on down there. I want to get different perspectives. And as you said, they're trying to open up the market. I know what it's like in Jersey. We popping, we popping in Jersey. I want to go to a market that's just starting off and see what that looks like. They want house music. They want to grow like Jersey, Chicago, whatever have you. What does it look like with a brand new platform where you're trying to bring house music and you got ample people that are interested in that district or that area, but what does it look like? I'm curious.
Well, I think too, tonight, both of us will be able to ask that question to DJ Unique, because
Burlington! Yes, agreed.
Because we're going down to Burlington tonight.
Yes, we are.
And Burlington has not been known for the house music. The people who in the house community there have to come north.
Right.
Typically.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to South Jersey.
Right. The other thing too, like look at Philly. I don't know how many events are in Philly.
Quite a few.
So that's another market there.
Mm-hmm.
But now the challenge is let's say you're a promoter and you're, say, Billy Bob here.
Mm-hmm.
Is your crowd going to follow you from here down to wherever? The thing. Now, watch this. Okay, so look at a couple scenarios. Steve Davis did the event last year in another country, in DR. Now, he was able to get 1,000 people to follow him.
Dang.
Right,
That's
DR.
what's up. That's
Right.
what's up.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Now, maybe it's creating more days. How about maybe some weekday things? Now, that's a little trickier because people have to work and stuff like that, but, like, there...
Well, when you say about the weekday things, you know, you got Charles Dickinson III, the problem child, that does Tuesdays, K's
right.
Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
You got Dawood Johnson, Thursdays, Cafe Z.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a couple of weekday things. You got stuff going on in Newark, I think, every day of the week.
Okay.
Downtown Newark, okay? For MoMo, it's very difficult during the week. You know, when I'm at work, I'm in a work mindset. I got to get my rest. I have to be at full productivity when I go into the office. It's another reason I go on live every morning. That's like my medicine. Get my mind right and get me started. When I got to go in here and go, good morning, how are we doing today? They be like, on Monday, not today, Ramona, not today, not right now. Please tone it down for a little bit. But it's very difficult. Something like a Thursday, you can squeeze it in because the next day's Friday.
Right.
You know, you figure I could log through the day. But on early in the week, it's very difficult. You know, I'm in an industry where we have to go out to dinners with brokers and things, and they want to go out drinking on a Monday. The rest of the week, the hair ain't done. You know, there's nothing going on the rest of the week. But on a Monday, we out drinking, entertaining brokers and stuff, so it's difficult. However, some people work at night, Dan.
Right.
You know, my friend James Thompson, he works at night.
Okay.
My BFF, Ray, he works at night. So maybe people that work at night, they can't make these things either. So I guess it's a seesaw. And again, if Lady Alma's somewhere on a Monday, I'll be there. Okay? Aaron Grayson somewhere on Tuesday, I'll be there. You know, it just depends on what it is you're trying to do. And again, I plan my vacations around this. If something's on a weekday, I'll take a day off if I really want to be a part of that.
Well, you know, this genre of music, and there's so many events, it's almost like, you heard the term football widow? In other words, during the football season, she cannot connect with her husband.
Okay.
Or vice versa, a football widower who, if she's into the football, through that season, forget about it, there's no plans, there's nothing, whatever. And really, Soulful House is getting to that place where you can say, well, listen, I love you, sweetie, but guess what?
Here's the calendar. So go ahead and get your pedicures and massages on these days, because I'm out at these events. I understand.
Yeah, so
I think weekdays they're tricky. As you said, I like that word. Weekdays are tricky. It just depends. What do you guys think about weekdays? Would you go out on weekdays? Are weekdays a panacea for too many house events on one a day? Let us know.
Right. Yeah, so we'd like to get some feedback on that. So we're going to hang in for just 1 minute. We'll have a moment of silence just so we can see what kind of feedback. So, should we look at weekdays? What suggestions would you offer? If we have any promoters watching, what ideas do you have to how we can make this work? Maybe promoters can work together. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't see, as far as let's take a moment of silence.
Okay.
You know that's hard for Momo.
We're going to take a MoMo of silence. What's that? Anyway, okay. Okay. Nothing kind of...
Okay, so we got something here from Rasul Pettis. Communication is the key to all platforms of planning. Everyone has to be on the same page. It's almost like that's so much easier said than done, because people have different pages. My page may be a weekday. Your page may be a weekend. Right? This is where, when we get into it, this paid model is going to be a big thing. My events may be free. Your events may be $5 or $10. Where do you think they're going? You know, location. Location is important. It's very hard to get you know, it's very hard, depending on where you live, to get to certain areas. Then you get to the area, ain't no parking. You know, I gotta park my car over there and take an Uber to the event. You know, parking is very difficult at many of these events that come up. That's another big thing. Let's talk about the parking when you get to the event. So can they plan these events around somewhere where there's a parking lot?
Or even make arrangements for parking.
Make arrangements for parking. You know, if you give an event, people driving in. Ain't no buses going down that way, right? So, you know, I want to make it as easy as possible, in quotes, for the person that's trying to get down here and enjoy this event I'm trying to put on. It's nothing like the feedback of when you give an event, like I gave one, right? I have no idea. But I would think there's nothing more rewarding than when you give an event and people tell you constantly, yo, that event was, oh my goodness, that event was everything, that event was everything. So now you're building a model or a template because you're getting this positive feedback. But it's very difficult to give negative feedback and go, that event was not what I was expecting it to be. How do you address that as well? You need that feedback because I can't fix it if it's broken and you don't tell me it's broken. Just like at work, you get a performance review. You know, your manager tells you, I need you to fix these areas. If they don't tell you and you're constantly giving a poor performance, that's not helping either one of us.
Well, I think that the real key there, I would think that most teams go back over, hopefully they go back over their results.
And do a sunset review.
Because, and a lot of times, most people are not confrontational. In other words, they're not going to tell you, and they just don't say anything.
Agreed.
If they didn't like something, or they just don't show up, or something came up, et cetera, or they try to figure out a way to put it, you know, in a nice way, so and stuff like that.
But you bring up a good point. I'm going to interject for a second. While people are shy or move away from giving negative feedback, and let's not call it negative. I call it constructive criticism, right? Because you're not going to just be. It's not meant to be derogatory, right? So what I think should happen, if it's not already happening, when you put on an event, how about you put out a questionnaire? How about you solicit the feedback to figure out how to make the event better than last time? What did you like? What didn't you like? You know, just so you can know. Because if people are afraid to tell you, if you ask, they're a little more apt to say, well, if I'm going to be honest, you know, that fish sandwich was $18. I mean, come on, 2 pieces of fish. Really? Really? Don't bring that vendor back here. You know, things like that. It gets down to the vendors too. The vendors have feedback.
Well, speaking of vendors, you know, I have some thoughts on that.
Okay.
Dawood asked the question, how can someone who hasn't been out in the trenches pretty much have a say-so about this thing here? Okay, now, I think it's a great question.
Me too.
But I do have an answer. Okay, so, you want me to go first?
I don't have an answer, so
okay, I do have an answer. Well, I think, I'm not sure 100% what he means, but I think maybe in terms of how you're running events and what should be happening, I think that's where, so let's assume that's where he's coming from, and Dawood can give me more clarification. Well, from my perspective, there's at least 7 parts to this thing. What I mean by that is that there's the DJs, there's the promoters, there's the artists, there's the fashion, how people dress, what they do, there's the vendors, there's security, there's sound. So there's at least 7, and I probably can name some more. And there's stuff that goes on in the background. And the dancers, dancers. How can I forget the dancers? And the spectators. I'm going to say dancers/spectators. Now, it takes all those to make this thing go. So, you may be the person who is on the firing line, but in my mind, in the end, we want to get to the dancers, the spectators, et cetera, the listeners. So, we're going to need to get their feedback. Now, the vendors are going to need to get their feedback because they're putting up money. And they're hoping to make out okay that day. So you're going to get fashion. You see fashion, it's not stated, it's not out loud, but, you know, people do dress a certain way. Let's talk about the sound. People don't talk about the sound, but let's be clear. You know what? Even if you could sing, even if you do have a loud voice, Your voice is not traveling
to the back of the park.
to the back of the park.
Where they sit down in their chairs trying to enjoy this event.
Exactly.
I agree with you. The sound is critical.
It's critical.
It's critical.
Right, and so I commend the sound people that put the things together. And then too, you've got your crew, because you got to remember too, like for example, let's say that event started at 12 o'clock.
Right.
Well, that sound crew might be out there 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yes.
that's so like I say, I think that from my perspective, if you look at it like a circle, you got all these different people around at the table. I think just one perspective is not going to give you everything you need to continue to raise the bar in your events.
Agreed.
That's just my thinking.
Agreed.
So I think it was a great question. Great question. Any other questions out there? Any thoughts? Okay. Okay. So listen. Here's the next one. Let's talk about. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
I think some people are gonna faint next. We'll bring up this next one.
Uh-oh.
We start talking about paid events. Uh-oh. Dun, 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 dun.
Paid events.
Uh-oh. Dun, 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 dun.
Ugh.
Okay. Okay. All right. You want to jump in?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, what I just want to do here is say there's some events that probably should be free and some events that shouldn't or can't. Now, I need to tell you, having seen and worked with promoters, and I had some experience with SMB, and I kind of saw what happened behind the scenes, but I talked to other promoters. I talked to people like Dawood. I talked to people like Magic. I talked, and Steve. Let me tell you something, and forgive me if I left somebody's name out. Again, I apologize. But you gotta understand, that's some soul-crushing work. I mean, soul-crushing. And if you're an independent, you gotta raise your own money. That's soul-crushing right there. Okay. Then there's the admin. When I say admin, I'm talking about the paper, I'm talking about the permits, I'm talking about the politics of it, the back and forth, the meetings, the emails, the phone calls. If you have DJs or artists, it's the coordination of all that. Meanwhile, your phone is jumping off the hook, and multiple times in multiple places, you have a situation where things that it's like, I'm saying this with love, is that when people ordinarily know the answer to it, it's like they lose their minds and they got to contact you, so you're handling things that you shouldn't, and you have things that are going on with people's lives, that you got lost kids. I mean, it's
interesting. See, this is where I'm learning, because as a person that just shows up at the event to have a good time, you have no idea all this stuff took place. I have no idea the guy got there at 6 o'clock to set it up for 1 o'clock. This is the stuff where behind the scenes, when they tell you all this stuff goes on, you're like, wow. So now I want to change the answer I was going to give when you asked me for the feedback.
But now watch this. Now, keep in mind, this is the part that I haven't even gotten to. They have personal lives, they have other businesses, some of them work, some people work. Let's say, then you got the family to deal with, because all of a sudden you're MIA. You got to go out and promote the event. That means you're out late, you're promoting this event, you're promoting this event. You know, you got to promote your stuff. Then let's say, for example, if you take like a treehouse, not only, now watch this, and I tease Tanya, I say she's trying to get 3 lives into one, her and her husband, but watch this. You're putting on the event,
right?
All right? Then you got to work your regular jobs, whatever you do, all right? Then you're running an organization that does a nonprofit, gives out food, and you got all, you got all this stuff going on, and like I say, it's a lot of work. It's soul crushing. It's emotional roller coaster. It's back and forth. It's coordinated. There's a lot with it. Now, here's the question: is it fair that they can make some money, or at least recover? Because you know what? Many times that money comes out of pocket, and sometimes if you can get some donations, etc., you still have to have the money up front.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the paid business model, and perhaps there's some perspective there. So,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot to process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what they go through with all of this stuff in a 24-hour day. I can't imagine.
Okay. So your event starts, let's say your event's next summer. Okay, you've already started putting stuff in place already.
You better have.
And as you start to get maybe 2-3 months out,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes more and more to take over your life. Okay, now, the people who come and don't pay, that's fine, but here's my first question. So let's say you got thousands of people come out, no pay. Okay, no problem, because you're able to, whatever I got it together. My question to you is, would you rather have 20, 30,000 people come out and it's free, or would you rather have 15,000 people say, I'm mad, I'm not paying, I ain't paying no house event, whatever, and pay $10 and have 5,000 people pay, walk away with no money, with 20, 30,000 came out there, or 5,000 people paid $10 and you made 50 grand. Which deal would you prefer?
It depends on what you. What's your goal? What do you want to walk away with?
Mm-hmm.
Are you only doing it to make a profit?
Okay.
Or are you also doing it because this is what you love? You want to be able to bring something to the people that they wouldn't normally have access to because they don't have the cash.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. So this is where what I came out of pocket with. If
Mm-hmm.
anything, I want to be indemnified.
Okay.
I want to be made whole
Mm-hmm.
at a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can sit back. I think I could smile better saying, you know, I put on a great event and I'm not in the negative.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in the red as a result of it. Because if you're coming out of pocket and you're putting on these events, how are you replenishing that?
Mm-hmm.
What else are you taking away from your household and your life
Mm-hmm.
to put on these events?
Mm-hmm.
So, me personally, I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I want the 5,000 to 50 grand. Okay, I'm put it out there. That's just me.
Okay.
Now, let's be honest. I want 5,000, and I'm gonna go ahead and take my 50 grand.
Mm-hmm.
However, you know, if I had an opportunity to get an event with 30,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
30,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
I might say, okay, we'll make the money next year because I'm building my platform,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm getting the 30,000, so next year 5,000 of them will pay.
Okay. Now let's ask. So Tanya says, Tanya says, in regards to paying for it, I get it if you're going to bring a production worth paying for. Free outdoor events mean free. Asking for donations might be a better way to do it. Okay. Now, Jerome Mack says, love don't pay the bills. Okay. So. Mel Cherry says every promoter doesn't get funding or have sponsors to do these events. Some of us do it and fund these events strictly for the love of the house community. Now,
wow, every perspective's on there. I love it. Every perspective, and those are people in the business. Okay.
Now, so you have some thoughts? I got some thoughts.
I'm still processing.
Okay, all right. So now. Let's go back to what you said.
Okay.
What's your goal? If you just love it and you just want to do it, and keyword, you can afford it, hey, no problem.
Agreed.
Because these events are not cheap. When you consider the cost of the permits, I'm not talking about people hours running around and being paid for your time. Put all that aside.
Okay.
We're going to say that's volunteer work.
Okay.
But you know what? They're not volunteering the permits. They're
I
not
didn't know permits cost money. I thought they were free.
No. They're not volunteering the permits. And then there's a whole bunch of criteria you have to meet with the permits. They're not volunteering the security.
Oh no.
Security, you got to pay for that. They're not volunteering for the cleanup. Okay, so like when we left Military Park.
Oh
right,
boy.
I mean, it's like people forgot there were garbage cans.
Yes.
They forgot. So the cleanup crew isn't volunteering. Okay. You got the DJs you're going to pay in this situation. You're bringing them in for whatever you're bringing them in. They're not working for free. How are you going to fund this? So I think if your goal is to do this out of the love and you can fund it, that's fine. But I think that if you've got to fund it and you want to do this event, then you've got to figure out some way to generate the income on it, the money.
Agreed.
You know,
Agreed.
I mean, how many times does a promoter get stuck and it looks like, oh boy, we got all these people, they make all this money. Well, not necessarily.
Agreed.
Not when you add up the expenses to do it. Now, if you don't get a budget, now some events, you get
Bring
a
it.
budget.
Yes, bring it.
Or some events, they'll say,
They're
okay.
funded by the county or whatever you're doing it at.
Mhm.
Right. And from what I understand, I got some feedback on the way here. I'm busting lights and on the turnpike doing 100, and I'm getting messages telling me, point blank period, you can't charge, you know, when the township is giving you funding for it. You can't charge for it. Well then, that's out the window then, right? Because if you take, is that only if you take the funding?
Well,
Now this is what I understand, Dan, maybe you can help me.
okay.
If I give an event in the township,
Mhm.
and I don't need their funding, and I still want to do the event, and will they give me the permits or allow me to give it even without their funding,
Yes.
and still have to follow their rules or not? How
Yes,
does that
you still
work?
have to follow all their rules. You can get the permits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But now, this is the other part that a lot of people don't realize. Now, just because that county or that town says, okay, we'll give you funding, they don't necessarily fund the whole thing. They may say, okay, we're going to give you X amount of dollars towards that budget.
Right.
And now you got to figure out the rest. Now, again, that's vendors, that's sponsors, that's
Cleanup, security.
yeah, but vendors and sponsors are how you're going to make up the money, and out of hip national bank. In other words, your pocket, out of your hip.
Wow.
So like I say, these events aren't cheap. I mean, these events cost thousands and thousands of dollars, and you know, and you can come out and say, hey, look, so like I say, it's a challenge. Now, I've seen them do donation things, but to be honest with you, where all the things I've seen with donations, I haven't seen them collect a lot of money, in my opinion. Certainly not enough to cover. The people have no idea what it costs to fund that thing. So I don't know. So yeah. So Jerome Max says here, 5 to 10,000 could be 5 to 10,000 for sound.
What?
Well, how many of those? Well, it depends on what you get, you know. And then let's say
For 5 or 10,000, you're getting the Bose box.
yeah. Can I get 2 for that?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't know. I guess it depends on the setup. But then what I'm also going to include, it depends on. Now, let's say if you have a stage. Now, depending on whether or not you get the stage from the county or the city or something like that, that's one thing. But if you have to bring your own stage in, that's another expense. Stages start at $1,500 and $2,000.
Wow. Wow.
So who's going to make up this money? So that's the tricky part about this. I got some here. Felicia says, charge for events. You have to make your money back too. Although it's something you love to do, other people have to be paid. You have to cover the charges. Then Melvin, my opinion is with all these free events, all summer and some during the winter, which I give, no one should have a problem paying for an event, especially when it's for a great cause. Now, let me share another thought with you, all right? Okay, let's say, and I'm not taking a position we should or we shouldn't, I'm just saying it costs money to do these things. Now, some people will say, well, you know, I ain't paying to go to a house event. Are you kidding me? But wait a minute. Let's think about this for a minute, all right? That same couple, or that same group of people, I'm not talking about an individual, will spend $500 to go see Patti LaBelle. Now, wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. I'm going to do something. Work with me right here.
Okay, bring it.
Okay, work with me. All right, okay. All right. Now, am I saying Patti LaBelle's not worth it? Of course I'm not saying that. All right? But watch this. So let's say it's you, your husband, your wife, your partner, your significant other, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Decide to go to Patti LaBelle, and you get 2 decent tickets. So how much are tickets? How much are they going to run?
At least $250.
Okay, $250. Okay, I'm gonna be gentle. I'm gonna say it costs $200.
Okay.
All right. I'm knocking $50 because you got the Groupon discount.
Okay.
All right.
I frequent Groupon.
Okay.
So we clear.
Okay. Now, okay. So you're going to see Patti LaBelle. We got $200. Are you gonna get your hair did? Okay, how much is that? I don't know. I just.
Well, for me, it's at a minimum, it's going to be about $75.
Okay, so $75. So
Right.
now we're at $275. All right.
I'm gonna get my feet and my nails done.
Oh, okay. So how much? So,
And add another $50 for that.
okay. So now we have.
I'm buying an outfit. Because I got to get for Patty.
Yeah. How much is your outfit?
I'm gonna spend like $100.
100. So
100
we have
on the outfit.
425 already. Easy.
Whew.
Oh wait. It gets better. All right. Now let's say, okay, as a guy, $20, 25, in a pinch, I get a razor. I'm good.
So much easier for men.
Yeah. I mean, I get the I call it a low maintenance haircut. Boom, I'm done. But still, all right. Now you get the outfit. Now that you got the outfit, now let's say if you have kids, guess what you have to do? Babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say right now you don't have to have the kids. We're still at $425.
Okay.
We're not even adding a babysitter because everybody's not, because they maybe grandma, grandpa,
Right.
whatever, they do that. So we're gonna put that to the side. But you gotta drive to the place typically, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I'm guessing that you're gonna park somewhere. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How much is that to park?
Well, if I'm going to New York, I'm parking no less than 50.
50. All right. So now we have.
And I pay the tolls to get over there.
Okay, we have $500 right there. But wait a minute.
You're gonna have me not going to no concerts.
Are you gonna take a box lunch?
Heck no.
Okay.
We're gonna have dinner that night.
Okay.
It's a night out on the town.
Okay, so how much is that?
No, seriously. If I go to a restaurant, I'm gonna have 2 drinks. I'm gonna have a main course. You have a main course. We might have an appetizer. You're looking at least $1.25.
Okay. So now we have $625. Easy. All right. But wait. Okay. So you have $625. All right. Now, like I said, you add it up. Now that's not to mention, some people do other things when they go to events. They don't just drink. Now, not you guys. But
What do you mean, man? What do you mean?
some people got some other stuff that they do.
Okay.
I mean, let's keep it real.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, so now you're all straight. Now, how long is the show? It's a great show. It's 3 hours, maybe. You got your warm up, maybe somebody else, and then you got. So let's even say it's 4 hours.
Okay.
All right. So you're at easy 625. Can you see? All right.
Right.
But watch this. You go to a house event. You got 10 hours typically.
Ooh.
All right.
Agreed.
You dance the whole night. You sweat the whole night. The whole afternoon.
Good.
And let's pretend you paid $10. I mean,
You getting.
you don't have to
You're
get
getting
your hair
great
did.
DJs.
Yeah.
You're getting great DJs.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Yeah, that puts things in perspective.
Hey, you're getting great DJs. You're dancing. You're connecting with your buddies who you get to know from the community. You're not doing that. I mean, respectfully, we love you, Patty, but we're not going to go there and connect with people. That's
No,
not going to happen.
no.
You know what?
That's a VIP pass.
That's what-
So add another $200 on for that.
Okay, all right. Then on top of that, you might do some chair dancing, like you do
Agreed.
every month. But
Agreed.
you're not getting on the floor and sweating. You're not going to do that. All right.
That's a great point, Dan. It's a great point.
Hey, listen. Then on top of that, you got to remember too. Let's talk about the VIP thing. I will get a chance to shake hands or take a picture with the DJ. You tell me you're gonna take a picture with Patty?
Mm-mm.
Let's keep it real.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Mm-mm.
So I'm just saying. So for $10, and I could go on and on and on. I mean, you got 8-10 hours. Come and go as you please. You leave that place, forget about it. Can't get back in. I mean, so I think if it came down to it, to support and to keep the efforts going, am I saying that we have to do a paid business model? But I think that some events can be paid business models. Not to say everything, but some of them. That's just my little humble opinion.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll take it.
So we got some. Okay, Jerome says 800 per couple. My military, in my opinion, with all the free events, summer and some during the winter, which I give, no one should have a problem paying for an event, especially when it's for a great cause. I think I might have said that already. Felicia says, charge for events. You have to make your money back, although it's something you love to do. Okay, I read that also. Okay. These same people ran out and purchased those Popeyes chicken sandwiches, spending about $10. Kelly! All right.
Salam says $10 is nothing for a great time.
Listen. Hey, absolutely. Okay.
If you love something, you don't mind paying for it to help support it. Oh, that's a very good point.
Yes.
See, everybody has an opinion. Does anybody in here say I'm not paying? That's what I'm looking for.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I say, if you love something, you don't mind paying for it to help support it. Okay, then, okay, watch this. Uncle Dan, it says, and don't forget all the vendors. Right. Now, let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, now, many times when people go to these events, they don't spend any money. All right, but now let me tell you how important it is to support the vendors. I'm not saying, obviously, you can't buy the place out. Well, Momo, you could.
Yeah. Stop playing. I got a budget like everybody else.
But, if they're not making money, then that promoter can't bring them, or the event coordinator can't bring them back the next year.
Right. I feel like it's a personal thing for me. For each house event I go to buy it from at least one vendor. And I ain't talking about the food, because they going to get the money. Okay? The food people going to get the money. I'm talking about, it's a personal thing for me, because I just think that could be me. That could be me out here trying to sell something. They trying to bring, I don't know if that's their only source of income coming in, but I just feel like if I'm here, let me buy something from one person.
Yes.
I try to get something from one vendor for every house event that I go to. That's just me personally. Because I want to support these people. What happens if you have an event with no vendors? What does that look like? What does that look like? And I don't ever want to experience it, I want people to be able to come out and they're contributing, they're giving something, bringing something to the event, if you will. I never want to see an event with no vendors. It just seems like it would take something away from the house template, from the whole meaning of house. It means vendors as well, in my opinion.
Well, again, I think that more and more you're going to see us move towards a paid business model, at least in some circumstances. Now, one of the questions that has been put up is that, okay, so let's say you have like a Weequahic Park. How do you, and that can be figured out, how do you cordon it off or whatever, and or keep people from not paying to get in? So I'm saying there's probably has to be some type of way to work that out.
Your security bill just went 6 times. Seriously, your security bill, and it's a park.
Right.
So I don't know I don't see that happening at something at a park. Now at another venue that's not an open free park where you can have one way in, you could possibly do that, but people are constantly going in and out of the park. How do you manage that? I've been to some events. Now I'm gonna share something with y'all. Be quiet, quiet. I said quiet. We went to an event one time, and they gave you the bands, right? So we were leaving about 2 hours before the event was over. We had some friends meet us outside. We took off our bands and gave it to them. Now they took our bands and they went in. What are you gonna do about that?
So people always had different ways.
So we paid. They got some money. It just was, we recycled the bands. So it's very difficult. I don't know how you're going to manage coming in out of a free park. So, and here's why, Dan. Here's why. I'm only coming to this park. I got my children. We going over by the playground area. It ain't my business you over there playing music. How you gonna stop me from coming in?
Okay.
You're gonna have to have bands. That's the only way you're gonna be able to do it.
Well, I think you raised a very good point. I didn't come unless you buy out the park, and then there's gonna be a fee for that. So now you run. Because you make a good point. So I'm just out for a Sunday afternoon or whatever.
I was just jogging by.
Yeah,
and the music reaches. Well, where can I not go by that I ain't got to pay? I'm just gonna stand back here. I don't need to come in. I'm still back here enjoying myself. So now the party back there. Ain't nobody up front. Everybody back there because they ain't had to pay. You can't control that. I think we got to put things in perspective. I'm not sure, you know, at an open park you can charge for that. I don't. That's where the donation thing. Now that I've learned everything that goes into putting an event on, I'm all for giving donations now. I'm all for giving donations. I had no idea. That is bananas. All of that stuff that goes into an event.
It's a lot.
Matter of fact, man, just meet me at my house. We going in the backyard. Everybody just come on up. We did that. It's a lot. It puts a lot of work into it. It really opened my eyes. So I have no problem with a donation. And something else that's, like you said, the donations didn't add up too much. Now that people know more, maybe they'll be more apt to giving donations.
Well, again, you know, not to, how can I say it? I don't want to downplay the power of the donations.
Understood.
But typically, and the ones that I've seen, I was just at another park where they did one at the African Caribbean event that I went to.
Right. I saw the footage. It was excellent.
Yeah. Now they passed out a donation thing, and that was what they were doing, collecting money for the people in the Bahamas.
Ooh.
But I'm not sure if they collected. The number that I heard, and you know, I stand corrected if I'm wrong, but it was less than $1,000. Now every little bit helps. But when you got a bill to put on an event and it's 5, 7, 8, 10 grand, I'm not saying you don't appreciate that money.
Of course not.
But I'm saying to you that the problem with it is that, first of all, when you put it out there, you can't predict how much you're going to collect.
No. That can't be the reason you're doing it.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear about that.
Right.
That's gravy on the potatoes.
Right. Here's some more comments here. Okay. Let's see. Aaron K. Gray says stance on the hand or wrist instead of wristbands.
Okay.
All right.
That saves some money, Aaron.
Yeah.
That would save some money too. No, it does, because you think the bands cost money as well.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yes.
But now who's gonna walk around and make sure everybody got a stamp? Come here! Let me see your hands. I don't see no stamp on there. It's just hard to manage that.
Yeah.
It would be difficult in the park. I don't see how you could do it. You'd have to really pick a venue that's closed off, like a parking lot.
That's ideal, I guess.
You gotta pick a parking lot.
Yeah, or like I say, you know, I guess, but again, I don't know. I think there's other ways we could look at this. And so, for example, you know, they do the EDM concerts, and a lot of those are outside. Those people are paying anywhere from $40 to $100 to get in.
Ooh.
Oh, easy. They're paying stupid money to get in. But they must have a way that they can either cordon it off or something. They must have a way. So we look at it, people who are already doing it. And they're
like you said, it can be solved. It just just take some research and the right people.
Right.
And how do you know? You got to do it and learn from your mistakes. If you go to a paid model for 1 or 2 events, let's say we start off 1, 2 paid, and the rest are going to be free. Now y'all fight over who won't do it. I don't know. I'm just saying, you do it every time you do something. You learn from what you did. So what can we do better? You know. Well, this time next year we're going to do this because we had 50 people in here that weren't supposed to be in here. You know, it's research. It's all research, and we're going to make mistakes, right? Let's go ahead and make those mistakes so we can get past them. Nothing is ever put on perfectly.
Let me ask you point blank.
I ain't got no money then. Please don't ask me $5. Yes. Yes. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. No, what do you want to ask me?
I mean, you know, would you pay $10 to see an event in the sweat, you know, for people that you want?
In a heartbeat.
Okay. All right.
In a heartbeat.
All right. I'm just wondering if people out here who are in the room, would you pay $10 to come to an event that you know you're going to have a great time? Okay.
Let's give it a second. Would you pay $10 to come to an event where you know you're going to have a great time? House event. I want some answers on that.
Okay. Paul Kroon says, house in the park had fencing around the park and ticket booths at the entrances. Ooh. So it's been done. And like I say, if you look at the EDM guys, they are making stupid money on it.
Felicia said absolutely. Richard Sweeney said yes, he'd pay.
Okay. All right. Wow. All right, that's $20.
Would you pay $10 to go to a house event? Let us know.
Wow. There's a lot of comments out here.
Paul would pay. Jackie would pay. Aaron said exactly. It's done overseas all the time. One way in, one way out. If you don't have a band or a stamp, you do not get in. Okay, Aaron. Mel, I would have and I have. He said he supported events and didn't even go. Call me next time. I'll take it. Karen said yes. Joy said absolutely. She would pay 40. Joy, I'm going to put some stuff on, boo. Linda, yes, if it's a designated controlled area. Okay, sis. Terrell, yes. Okay, this is the feedback we're looking for. I think we got a whole lot of yays and no nays.
Okay, Joy says, absolutely, I'll pay 40. I said, all right.
I just told Joy, Joy, I got some events coming up. I'm going to inbox you. John Jackson said, people pay $10 for a combo at McDonald's. Yeah. Dan, we're talking about eating versus sweating. John, we're talking about eating versus sweating. Richard Sweeney said, me and my Basement Life 41 will have no problem paying. Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Terry says, let's stop looking at it as making money. Let's look at it as supporting an event so it continues the following year. Natasha says, charge a fee that everyone can afford. Remember, the people wish they could afford more. Music is their only hold to sanity.
Boom!
Okay.
That just made me think of something.
Okay.
Serious talk.
Okay.
How about you have an event where people have to pay $10 to get in, but you have those that can't actually afford it. Let's say you put 50 tickets to the side for those that want to be there but can't afford it. First come, first serve. How about that? That way you don't block anyone from coming to the event that really would like to come and have a good time too. Now we're gonna have a whole questionnaire and everything filled out. Say you. I know. That's why I said first come, first serve. We really. Yeah. That's where the honor system comes in. Right. Hopefully you really use the honor system for that. But I think I agree with her. For the people that want to be there that really can't afford it, that's a sticky situation. Okay. Yeah. Maybe you put some tickets to the side for those that can't afford it.
Here's another scenario. Now, at most of these events, there's no prizes or there's no contests or anything like that. So maybe some value-added stuff might be interesting. So let's say the one with the best outfit, come up to the stage, whatever, get 5 people, the audience can hear, have a little fun. Bring another entertainment aspect to it. Maybe the best dancer, or that's not really a dancer. I mean, it could be fun stuff like that.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Maybe you can win a prize or something like that. Or the vendors could chip in and maybe put together a big goodie bag or something like that. So these are things that, people could potentially walk away with that would add a little more stuff there. Yeah. So I'm just putting it out there,
I think that's like when I played one of MoMo TV show.
Hey!
That's where you get that's where you get that from. But I think that's a great idea. That gives more interest and it makes it seem like, some anticipation for the night. Right. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe that you can have some draw prizes or something like that. But I mean, just like add some other fun value.
Great idea. It's a good idea. Yeah. So in that way you give it back. You give back. At these paid events, you give back a little something too. I like that idea.
Right. Okay, this says, so Solange says there's no contests or giveaways at the $75 concert. That is true. Okay. Let's see. We have here. Max says, yes, I've been doing it for over 30 and will continue to support the right events. Okay.
And Joy said they get a ticket when they pay. They get a raffle ticket when they pay. They get it. Oh yeah, some events do that.
Well, yeah. Well, to have something that you could win, a prize or something like that could be pretty interesting.
I think that definitely adds a highlight to the night.
Right.
It definitely does.
Right.
As long as they don't take a half an hour away from the music to say who the winner is. You ever been to a raffle? You like, come on, it's been an hour now. Who don't won this raffle now? Come on.
I think if you're gonna do something like that, I think the way to do it is they pick it, and then at some point, like, you know, usually a lot of these events they have some introductions, etc.,
Right.
etc.
Right.
And they say, and by the way, the winner of the ticket is
Yes.
blah, 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 blah,
That's
blah, blah, blah,
perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Agreed.
All right. So, any other things out here that you want to go over?
Oh, let's get away. We talked about the money, would you go to paid events or not? We talked about, are there too many house events? I'm curious to know, what would you like to see more or less of at any house events, wherever they are?
Great
What
question.
would you like to see more or less of? Let us know. Let's talk about that.
Great question. Great question. Oh, that's a great question. More or less. Now, I'm going to tell you something that comes up a lot in conversations. As a matter of fact, when I went to Military Park, DJ Kenny Ken stopped me. And I met him originally at Weequahic Park.
Okay.
And one of the things he said is that he would like to see more qualified DJs playing other than the, I'm going to say the chosen few, for lack of a better term. Now,
I don't think they heard you. I think you want to repeat that.
All right. So, when I went to Military Park last Saturday, I ran into Kenny Ken, DJ Kenny Ken, who had stopped me, and also, too, I had a brief conversation with him at Weequahic Park, and his question, he'd like to do a show around people who are not, quote-unquote, the chosen few, getting a shot at playing on these festivals and events. So, I guess my question is, what's your thoughts on that? Okay, I have a couple thoughts, but let's see what the audience thinks.
Okay. What's your thoughts on having DJs other than the chosen few? Give us your feedback. Come on.
All right, so
Get it.
DJ Tad says he'd like to see more showcasing the up and coming DJs, and Joy says she would like to see more vinyl being played. Okay. All right. Now.
Ooh,
Okay.
Terry Khalil said more local talent.
More local talent. Okay. All right. Now.
Holly Rock. Stop it, Holly Rock.
It's always the same old DJ. Okay. All right.
Now, the qualification thing, I think qualifier is a big, I don't know, I'm thinking that's a big factor.
It's got to be.
It's got, when you say you want to see other DJs, it can't be somebody that's just learning, right?
Right.
And want to get out here and see what it's like. So what goes into, what qualifications do you need to actually be a DJ?
Okay, yeah.
To be qualified for these platforms, I should say.
Well, I think that's, again, like for example, Kenny Ken mentioned to me, he said, listen, I've been in the game, I think he said 30 or 40 years. And he said, I can rock with this thing here. And plus he does Facebook Live, but he never gets a shot, or hasn't gotten a shot. And there's a lot of DJs out there like that haven't gotten a shot. I'm gonna have a couple thoughts that I want to share.
Please.
And then I just like some feedback. Okay, now, let's say if you're the person putting on the event, there's a certain amount of, okay, I'm going to say pedigree until I think of a better word.
Okay.
Headline, that's the word.
Okay.
If you hire a headliner, you know two things. Number one, you know people are going to show up.
That's first and foremost.
And then number two, you know you're going to have a certain quality of music. They're going to rock.
Okay.
Now, the thing about it is when you get not, quote unquote, the headliner. And I think you should look for those people. I mean, keep it real. And you should look for them. Then you got to know that even though that person's not going to be the big draw, but when they're going to get in there, they're going to rock, and you will have the privilege and the honor of discovering that person and putting them on.
Good point. Good point. How many great DJs are out there that we don't even know about because they don't get the opportunity?
They don't get the shot. Now, to be fair, as a DJ who wants to get on, you got to, number one, first of all, your game's got to be tight. So let's say you got that.
Right.
But then you got to be your biggest promoter. Okay, you can't really take the position that they'll discover me. You got to take the position that you're out and about, you're meeting the promoters, you're meeting the other DJs who could recommend you. You're doing Facebook Live, you're posting on SoundCloud, Mixcloud, and so you got to be your biggest promoter. Just like Muhammad Ali said he was the greatest. Well, who said that?
He did.
He did.
He did.
He did.
That's a very good. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's a great analogy. That's great.
And really, you gotta campaign for
You gotta be your number one fan.
You gotta, yeah.
If you don't, who will? And networking is very important. Networking is really important. You know, I would think networking is important in the professional arena, so why would it be different any place else? You got to, like you said, you got to get out, talk to the people, and let them know what you do. More importantly, you can do Facebook Live, SoundCloud, all that stuff. But you got to tell them you're interested in actually playing in these platforms.
Okay.
Some people, who's to say they all want to be playing at a house festival? Maybe that's not every DJ's goal. You got to make these people aware that, look, I'm interested in, maybe I can get a half an hour, you know? And that comes in with your credentials, as you said. You know, you got to be on top of your game. I would, please don't bring me down there and be playing crazy stuff. Don't do it. Don't put it on MoMo TV. Don't do it. Don't do it. So, okay.
All right. So listen, we're gonna wrap it up. We've got a lot of feedback here. We got a lot of things that we could talk about going forward.
Yes.
And if MoMo is open to doing this again, I'd love to do it with her. I'll come down her way, come down, whatever.
Yeah, you come to my house.
Okay.
I put that thing in my navigation. It said 42 miles. I said 40 who? Oh, Jersey is huge. Who knew? But yes, I love this. I think this is great. I just like getting feedback. I learned so much today. I can't believe all of that stuff goes into putting on an event.
Oh, it's a lot. It's an awful lot.
And that's why, I want to talk about this real quick. Something I noticed at Military Park, the very last one that we had. They are going non-stop with trying to make sure this event is successful. The day of, I'm talking to the DJs and they were so exhausted. They were so tired and exhausted. They were up to the wee hours of the morning just making sure everything is in place and be like it's supposed to be. I felt so bad. They were so exhausted and still got on and killed it.
Listen, and then let's say, now you would have the mix of the personalities. This wasn't even mentioned here. And this one doesn't, I want to be on, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes on. Well, look, I think we've covered a lot of ground.
I think we did too.
Yeah.
But hopefully everybody learned something. They had appreciate sharing your opinion. Please let me know you learned something, that you've taken something away from this. That's most important to me.
Right. Well, listen. Here's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna wrap this up. Any final closing thoughts, but also too, I want people to know how to support you, follow you, keep up with you. And I know I can't always watch it live, but I'm back on there watching MoMo.
Oh, that's okay.
I think
hot dog for the energy. That be Dunkin' Donuts. The coffee. So I'm on every weekday morning. Normally I get on between 6 and 6:30. If I'm running late, I'm definitely on by 7. But I'm on Facebook.com, MoMo TV Henry. If you want to get some good house music, some good energy, and just crack some jokes and have some fun, I'm on every weekday morning. Facebook. And eventually I'm going to open up my younger brothers have said, stay off for Instagram. That ain't for old people. What? But eventually I'll get on Instagram as well and YouTube. But I'm on Facebook for now. Thanks for asking.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks to all the people that came out and hang out. All the people who came out and hung out. There we go.
Agreed. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in.
And I just really want to just say thanks to MoMo, because it really was a Herculean effort to get up here, especially after that night she had last night.
Oh, Lord.
Because you know what? I know what you did last night.
Be quiet. And that's what we do, Dan. We run around and we go to these events because we want to support them. But MoMo does it because everybody can't make these events.
Right.
And they're curious and they want to be a part of it. So I'm live, so for the people that can't be there and still want to enjoy it and have a good time. So hopefully, you felt like you were in the room with me, because that's my goal.
And I'll tell you, and if nothing else, she could sing too. She could sing.
That's cool. I'm singing. I'm just getting it out there. You feel it. You got to get it out.
I know.
You know doggone well I can't sing. It's horrible. That's what makes it funny. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Well, listen, I know, but I enjoy it. We know it's love, it's fun,
Exactly.
and I just want to let you know I super appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, man.
And I
Thank
think
you so
everybody
much.
else
Forget it, Soulful House Nation. Forget it.
Well, we do something every Monday from 1 to 3.
That's right.
From 1 to 2, we have the interviews and the updates. This week we have Jackson Stacy out of Eastern Pennsylvania. We have some other people coming up. We have I don't know. Should I let the cat out the bag? I'm gonna let the cat out the bag.
She's coming next week, right?
Okay. We're gonna have Babu.
Woo!
We're gonna have Babu from Switzerland.
Boom.
She's coming in, and we got her, and she said she's agreed to do an interview with us. So it's probably gonna be at the 5 to 6 o'clock hour on Thursday. Then what we're also gonna do, for those of you who want to meet her and all those who want to have a great time, I just want to take my hat off to Dawood, because he's doing a thing at Cafe Z, and so we're going to go down there. I know she's going to go there, so if you want to meet her, take a picture with her, I know she's going to be open to that. Also, too, just want to give Dawood, that day also is Soulfinger's birthday, so that's going to be another big thing.
My God.
It's going to be
That's
like
my buddy. Oh, we in there. That sounds like a day off.
That.
That's a take a day off day. Okay.
Okay.
That's a take a day off. Okay.
So we got a lot of stuff going. As you know, every
Thursday, October 9th.
Thursday, October
10th.
10th.
Thursday, October 10th.
Right.
All roads lead to Cafe Z.
That's right.
Baboon, Soulfingers. Okay.
Right.
We're there.
Yeah, then now, just a couple other things we got going on. So, as you know, last week we had Mark Francis. I want to go back and tell you that. We've had a lot of people that you know, but a big part of it is I want to bring on people that you don't know. In my opinion, my philosophy is, if you know everybody that I'm bringing onto the show, then I'm not doing my job, because I'm not looking for people who are good, qualified, but maybe don't have the name yet. So, to the best of my ability, we'll always have a mix-up. Then, just a couple of things, and ask everybody to go to Soulful House Nation. Soulful House Nation. We have the fan page, the group page. I want to ask you 2 questions. You got to answer those 2 questions. Number 1 is, how did you hear about us, and what's your connection to the community? Are you a dancer? Are you a promoter? Are you a DJ? Are you a listener? Are you just curious? We don't care. We just want to know. And then also we have a website. The website is soulfulhousenation.com. Very, very easy. Sign up, etc., etc., etc. We have literally hundreds of hours of stuff to upload that we haven't even gotten to. I'm going to drop a name too. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to... We got an interview with Naeem Johnson that we're going to upload. And we have some more that I'm not even going to tell you about it, but you didn't hear from me.
Soulful House Nation.
Okay.
Got the connections there.
And then we also have the YouTube channel, Soulful House Nation.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you to go on there, sign up for all that stuff. We are building our team. We've got some more surprises and stuff coming up for you. Also after the show, which is interviews and updates, then we have the Shazam Free Zone. And what we do that for an hour. And again, I originally start out, we hit the Shazam, you don't know the track. But now more and more we play tracks that you may not know. We play some hits in there, but the whole thing is that's really an opportunity to to introduce you to some new tracks that I believe go in that genre. So if you have new music and stuff like that, you know, we want to know about it, we want to hear about it, because more and more of that is becoming dedicated to that. So, I mean, I think that's everything I got. Momo, any final words, any last thoughts, anything you want to say?
I want to end off by telling the people something about each of us they may not know. Share something about yourself that the people may not know.
Okay, you asking me?
Yes.
They may not know, but most people only see me in the music business. But aside from that, you know, I'm a parent. You know, I'm a husband. Also, too, my other business, or where I make the money, is I'm in the real estate business, and let's see, and also too, I do parties. I have an entertainment company. We do parties, weddings, anniversaries, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, corporate events. Now my season is pretty almost filled up for the holiday events coming up.
Wow.
With the DJing and stuff like that. So I do that kind of stuff. And, you know, I post some of them, but I don't post anywhere near all the different things that I have. So, but that's something that they may not know, but I want to ultimately I want to take this thing public, and that's it.
All right. Ooh, we want to go public.
I want to go public with this whole Soulful House.
You know, that's
thing.
another
Stop playing.
tangled web we weave when you go public. Excellent. Thanks for sharing.
All right.
I just want the people to know something you may not know about me. I'm not me. That's it. Yes, Momo's not me. And I hate it. That's it.
Now,
You shared a lot.
oh, I just want to tell you one other thing we got coming up too. We're working on it now. Again, I talked about Soulful House Nation, our community. I mentioned some other things, but also too, we're gonna do a special show regarding prostate cancer.
Oh, yes.
Now, there were two events that I went to this year that, I mean, let's keep it real, it does affect our community.
Yes, it does.
All right? You
Yes,
know,
it does.
many of you are at the age where that's a concern. Of course, not me. Anyway, but just real quick, I met this gentleman named Lenny Cathcart. I met him at the Plainfield event.
That's
We had a
right.
Discussion.
Lenny.
I met him also at Military Park. And he's a gentleman, and then there's another gentleman, there's two other gentlemen I want to interview and bring them to the table and discuss prostate cancer and some other stuff. So like I say, we're going to do a lot of things. It's not just the music, we're going to do a lot of other stuff too. So, all right, I mean that's everything I got.
Okay, thanks everyone for
All right,
tuning in.
there you
We
go.
appreciate you.
All right, so would you just give me a little...
MoMo TV, live with Dan Shiver. Get up, get out, get in. Ah!
And I'm DJ Dan with Soulful House Nation. Get ready, get ready, get ready.